Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for a second topic of discussion for today, and we're still going to be shedding the light on the bilateral relations between Egypt and Tajikistan. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Deputy Foreign Minister. Very good morning, Ambassador, and thank you so much for joining us on The Breakfast Show.
Good morning. It's my pleasure.
Ambassador, first of all, if you'd like to tell us more about how deep the Egyptian-Tajik relations are and the importance of this meeting that was held between the Egyptian President Abd el-Fattah el-Sisi and his counterpart.
It is an old and traditional relations, but we didn't know it because Tajikistan was a part of the old Soviet Union. And it went to independence later on. Then we recognize it, of course. Then during the time of the 70s and the 80s, the whole relations with this bloc was a little bit deteriorated because the peace process Egypt chose to take, and the Soviet Union was a little bit angry with us taking the other side of this process. Now, after the collapse of the Soviet Union and the collapse of the communism and the collapse of the Berlin Wall, now we have those blocks going more and more to free economy, to more free relations. That's why we are visiting all these countries and opening all the files in order to regain the old relations, because they were always a traditional market for our commodities and our exports. Also, it is a source of many commodities which we need. Tajikistan also is an Islamic country, and the relation within this part of our foreign relation is very important. And of course, here the role of Al-Azhar, which hosts hundreds of students from Tajikistan and those Central Asia Islamic countries. So the Arabic language here is very important. Islam is very important to the relations between Egypt and Tajikistan and those Central Asia Islamic country also. And now we are bringing all the files. We are trying to start making our trade relations as it was and even better. We are starting to think about investment here and there, and I think investment is the word. They talk also, the two presidents, about strengthening the bilateral relations concerning education and also fighting the organized crime. This is, it means terrorism, it means illegal immigration, drug trafficking, and money laundering. It's very important. And it was mentioned that we shall exchange information in order to fight all these crimes. Many dimensions are coming on the table now, and we are trying to make the relation even better than it was before.
Ambassador Bayoumi, if you can also tell us about the ramifications of this visit by the Tajik president to Egypt. And of course, as you're well aware, on the sidelines of this visit, several MOUs were signed between Egypt and Tajikistan on different fronts and in various domains. The impact of these memorandums of understanding on the bilateral relations and the cooperation between the two countries.
It is simply that every subject comes to our mind, it is discussed, of course. And on the bilateral level, on the regional level, and on the international one. But the most important, of course, is the bilateral cooperation. in many fields. And as you see on the screen now that a lot of MOU are signed in many fields. And I hope that this will show immediately the gains on both sides from such a visit. Also, as an old diplomat, I am happy to see that we are restoring the touch of the presidency. We have, of course, relations on the ambassadorial level, on the ministerial level, but the most important one, which is the summit and the presidential level, was not used quite well 20 years before our 2011 revolution. Now we see that our president is visiting many countries, receiving many leaders, and making Cairo one of the most populated cities concerning foreign missions. We have the largest American embassy in the world. We have one of the largest Russian embassy in the world also. And this shows that we are really dealing with very important foreign policy, which we can depend on it in order to have a very important relation all over the world. And we are in a very good relation with the whole world. I cannot recall any country which we cannot deal with it friendly and brotherly in all the time. So another good success for our foreign policy.
Ambassador Bayoumi, also among the important topics that were discussed between President Fattah al-Sisi and his Tajik counterpart was combating illegal migration and also combating organized crime. The impact of this talks, in your opinion, as an expert and as a former diplomat, on the stability in the region?
This is one piece of success where Europeans are congratulating Egypt and raising its position. We are hosting almost 6 or 7 million visitors to Egypt. We don't call them migrants at all. We have Sudanese, we have Africans, we have people coming from Lebanon, from Palestine, recently from Syria, of course. But we never treat them as illegal migration. We consider them brothers. We used to treat them as one of us. And this is a part of the satisfaction of our partners all over the world, especially in Europe, because Europe, as you well know, is suffering from the migration in general and the illegal one especially. And here Egypt is playing very positive role in order to stop the illegal migration, and we do not allow it at all.
Ambassador Bayoumi, also on a parallel front, the two leaders discussed Egypt's preparations for the upcoming UN climate change conference, COP27, which Egypt will be hosting in the Red Sea resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh later in November this year. The importance of Egypt leading and hosting this conference in light of the climate challenges that are facing the whole world.
This is another story of success. Cairo and Sharm el-Sheikh are becoming and hosting many conferences, successful ones, but especially for the environment, this is a big challenge because, as you will know, the third world and Egypt are suffering from the bad use of the industry and the bad practices of the industry in the developed countries. China and United States and Europe are really doing bad to our environment. How we can convince them to adopt policies to make our life much better, much cleaner, and to make the environment temperature less by 1 or 2 degrees. This will make a hell of a difference for our life and for our future.
Indeed, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Deputy Foreign Minister, we really appreciate your insight as always, and thank you so much for being with us on the Breakfast Show. And your viewers, by this, we wrap up today's episode of the Breakfast Show. You were in the company of myself and my colleague Dina Hussein. Until we meet again, this is goodbye.